Hi everybody, I'm here with John tonight and we're doing a video about the jab. Now, the thing about the jab is that people in martial arts will throw different types of jabs to your classic boxer, and some people get absolutely pilloried for showing a defence against a jab, which is basically some guy on the street stepping and doing this. And let's be right, I wouldn't do that, John wouldn't do that, and by the end of tonight I hope you guys won't do that, but that's probably 90% of what people will face on the street, really. You know, it's not just going to be classic jabs. So, but we're going to look at the classic jab. Now, the classic jab can be used for delivering direct power, it can be used for speed, it can be used for just a gauging of distance, so I might just be moving out, just gauging of distance, but there are some basic rules that you need to follow. And there are also two elements to the jab that are important, that make them two different styles of jab. So we're going to go through, including this first one, Super 7 jabs, but we're going to show 6 variations at the end of the jab that hopefully will transform your game a little bit if you're not used to this sort of thing. So, let's begin. Right, okay, let's have a look before we... Don't need that a moment, John. Right, let's have a look at this basically. I'm going to start on this line here. I'll come back to John. I don't leave him hanging there. Is that a classic position for a boxing jab, and I'm going to say boxing jab here, is you have your heel on one line and the toe or the ball of the foot on the other line. And all of these jabs are going to be some momentum with them. And if it's a single jab, and that's what we're concentrating on tonight, we're going to be taking half a step. So we're going to do half a step and back, because you don't want to be waiting there if you've just thrown one punch, because you might get knocked out. So it's a case of going out and back, half a step, like that. So let's have a look at this, this jab position here. So when I've got a standard jab position, this hand is patrolling the face, it's got stuck to the face. And this elbow is tucked in here. And what you're going to do when you move is it goes out, and just come to the camera, Rich, there we go. What you're going to do is that when we move forward, it's going to extend out. And can you see what's happening here? Is my elbow is staying low like sawing wood as I step and bring my momentum through. And I would turn it a little bit at the end. Now, I'm going to come on to the turning the fist because it's quite important. You notice I've not got gloves on. I would be using gloves for some of these jabs. But if you look at John, and don't put that again there, John. If I look at John here, is if I have my fist that way, like that, I can hit him in the face with my knuckles. If I turn my fist flat, my fingers can get in the way. No matter how well they're tucked, my fingers can get in the way. So this quarter that way, or turn that way, tends to create a better position for landing if you're going to turn your arm over. You'll see later some variations of that. So again, what we're looking at here is I'm going to step off the line here. I'm going to step and I want to extend my jab as much as I can. So when I step, let's look at the feet now. I've been showing a half step like this. So the half step I'm going to throw, actually I will very often turn my foot slightly further that way. Because what happens now is my hand will go out and I've got this position. And look at the position here, my hand's here, I've got as much extension as I can, and I've taken my half step. Half and back, half and back. And another important thing is to bring my hand back. It's just as important. If I do this and it fades, you get what's called jab fade, and you can get hit with jab fade. So if I do a jab fade with John, he can actually smack me with the back hand as it fades. So I say, anyway, jab, fade, boom, out. So I need to make sure my hand comes back as well. So I have this generic action. So I'm going to be here like this, look, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to be, so you can't reach it at the moment, move my foot forward, and I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to go, and bring back, and back, and back, and back, like so. So the basics are, I'm going to step, my elbow's not going to give me away, I'm going to turn my hand over so my knuckles hit and not my fingers, and I'm going to make sure it comes back to the same line. This is the basic starting position. Lots of variations to come. All right, Now, you can put all of my variations in this into two categories. One is the step jab where I'm dropping into it, so I'm using my weight. This is one where I'm hitting through and smacking hard. So again, the same thing here is when I go in, my weight drops. Can you see how it goes into the knee and drops here? And it hits it like so. And the other one that I like to do is you power it through the hip. So my hip goes slightly first and it snaps. See the two differences? The step with power and the snap with the speed. Each time, out we go. So that is our basic jab. Notice my hand's not leaving my face, which is really important. Okay, back here with John. My guys have been trying some things out. Very important things that I probably didn't mention last time is that when you throw this jab, and you can see I've got the gloves on here, when I throw this jab is that I make sure that when I throw it, my shoulder is protecting my chin here. So my chin draws back and I throw it and my shoulder is protecting. I like to follow the line of my thumb back so it comes back straight. One or two just dropped it a little bit in the hoop. So bear those things in mind. Also a question about the foot is that when you step and you turn your foot, it can be a shorter, more balanced step because your rotation is making the jab further. So the first variation is a very simple one. Martial artists tend to have to fend away slightly more at distance. You're still going to be controlling this back hand, but I'm going to be starting here. So my jab's going to start here, like this. And all I'm going to do is either I'm going to flick the hip, or I'm just going to drop the step. So I'm going to drop the step, flick the hip, drop the step, flick the hip. Can you see how it's not come back? It's still going out, it's still coming back, but my fend is just here. There and back, and then settle. There and back and settle. There and back and settle. Same mechanics, but much shorter distance. Makes it faster, keeps it in the face longer. You don't build up quite as much momentum, but then again, sometimes it's easier just to hit somebody with this distance rather than this distance. So give that one a go. That's my first variation. Okay, we're back. You might have noticed our resident troublemaker's joined us. Anthony. Great tattoos, Anthony. I'm not going to mention dice. Okay. Some questions about this one. This one here, this longer one, you kind of got to be, it's almost like you're fencing it away. So when it comes out, it just goes from where your hand is. I find this in particularly useful if somebody's southpaw. In other words, like a mirrored stance. Because what we won't go into great detail, but one of the great rules of southpaw is be on top, be on the outside, and your foot on the outside. And it allows me to fence from here. So with this, it's following, Anthony, fence and hit. Can you see how that jab becomes there? So I'm moving around, and I'm jabbing from here. Fence, you're getting used to it now. Fence high and hit low. But can you see how it does it? I don't really want to do this to hit Anthony, to be fair. Because I get lots of requests to hit Anthony. So that was all that was about. But no, seriously, when you're doing this, you kind of feel with it. It's great for martial artists, thank you. Right. So, variation number 2. Now, you've all heard of this one, Philly shell. Philly shell, I'm on the line again, look. Philly shell, normally the arm down here protecting the body, and it's here with the hand. So it comes like this, look there. And you've got this in a cup with my shoulder. Can you see I've got this little cup here? And this hand's down here protecting the body. So arm there, body, hand there and body. And the idea is you don't see the jab, it comes off the side. Some people have it in here, some have it over there. I like it nicely in the middle, it's fine. And it's got to be sideways on. Once you open a Philly shell out, it's useless because the shoulder doesn't protect anymore. The thing about the Philly shell, if I can come to the camera slightly, Rich, the thing about the Philly shell here is it comes up. It's sort of literally a line up. So I hit with the back of I hit with the knuckles, not this flat bit. The knuckles here, and I've got gloves on. But I hit, so I'm literally I go, boom, there, and I go into the jab like that. So when I'm with John here, I'm moving around like so, and I'm literally going to go. Boom. Now this one hasn't got quite the same power for the drop down one. This is almost the more flick with this one through the hip. So power comes through the hip, boom, and then back, boom, and back. So you're moving around and boom, and back. But can you see this hand's still here? And I've got to keep this cup. The Philly shell's really important. Can I borrow you again, Anthony? Come on in quickly. Philly shell is very, very important, because what I'm going to do with the Philly shell here is that this hand comes in and I'm going to pat down and I'm going to cover. That hand comes in and it's going to be my shoulder that covers it. Can you see? My shoulder covers this and it allows me to come off it. Yeah, got it again every time. Everyone's a winner. Sorry, mate. But can you see how that would work quite nicely? Philly shell, great jab, really good defence. I really like it. And it's very quick. And you don't see it till the last minute because it comes from below your eye line. Give it a try, guys. Just a couple of things that came out of the training from the Philly shell. The first one is I do tend to have a slightly wider stance when I throw Philly shell. I tend to be further down. I tend to have a slightly more bent stance here. I like it. It works really well for me, but I'm a counter puncher. I like throwing counter punches. Some people who like a lot of attacking don't like it as much. So bear that in mind. The other question that came out of this is, well, what about the protection? You know, every other time I've come out and come back to protect. But if you think about the generic, is that when I go out here, when I go out, I can follow the line and I come back. And as I come back, my hand is, even though my shoulder's still there, I'm more exposed, or my hand has to deal with it. Even the short one, look, my hand's having to deal with it. With the Philly shell, my shoulder is always in place. So when I'm here like this, when I throw it, look, from down here, my shoulder stays in place and my shoulder stays in place. Some people like to turn the hand out that way. Some people like to cut their chin. But can you see my shoulder is the protection? Which brings me quite nicely onto the next one, really. Because my next variation, variation number 3, is something you can try with all of them. I'm going to show this with the Philly shell, but it's the slip jab. And the thing is that so far we've been trying a very generic jab in one direction, but here, very often if somebody's jabbing at the same time, you want to take your head off line. You don't want to be throwing this jab. If he throws a jab and I throw a jab, boom. You know, we don't want that to happen. So very often I will be timing my jab that I'll slip at the same time. So I'll be here and I'll go, pop, there. So this is a great one for the Philly shell because I'm moving around and it goes, pop, there. Can you see? Slowly, pop. It's quite difficult when somebody's got pads on to show this, but I think you perhaps get the meaning is that I will time my movement with his. And I'll pull down with my elbow and I'll step. So this elbow pulls down from here and I step slightly forward and out and I'll go pop. Can you see? And there's my slip. I've always got my eyes on the prize. Although that isn't the prize, that's the prize. And I turn it over and very often it's got a further turn with it here. So here like that, as we're moving around and it comes in, pop, there. That's the slip jab. So make sure you are taking your head as you turn offline as you throw this. You can do low jabs or high jabs. Again, a really nice jab to land. Give that one a go. So I'm back here with Anthony, and this is his chance to get his own back, because all the jabs we've shown so far have been kind of boxing jabs. So you've got a slight sideways on variation, which of course gives me my maximum length in my hand, but he's got his legs and he can kick me. So for example, he might do a kick when I jab, he might respond with a thigh kick. So I'll be out here, I'll throw the jab, boom. Can you see? No matter where I step, he's got the length on me every time and he's going to kick me there. He could do a stamp kick on it as I step forward. Each time he's got an advantage with that kick. So I need to think now other ways to throw the jab. So let's have a look at Muay Thai. Muay Thai have a tendency with their jab, it's shorter. They will still be 3/4. They're not fully side on, they'll still be here like they're facing that part of the room, like that. So they will have a slightly wider, toe not quite on the line, slightly wider, and so that they can move and they can move their legs out, they can control. But can you see it's a much more upright version, but to get that snap with the jab, they will still do a short step, but they will turn their hand over. So when we're talking about the speed, this is very, very quick, it's slightly further out, and it means it's difficult to throw that jab again, that kick again, because I'm here. And often they will do this where, or here, same mechanic, but the power comes from the turn over of the hand. You can see the hand normally goes a little bit further over. So I've got that angle rather than that angle or that angle. I'm here. And it's literally, power comes from that, and it's up here, boom, and still got the, and back, and these are all single jabs. All right, so you can see the difference when I'm boxing normally. I move like this, I'm going to take my legs out, boom. If I'm here, I'm going to do it like that. It's much more difficult for him to do it because my jab is allowing me to take his legs out. Give that one a try, guys. Variation number 5. I'm here with Anthony now because John's had to go. I've taken my gloves off. I've still got my wraps on here, but I've taken my gloves off. What's happening here is that virtually all the jabs we've shown are so generic, often using wearing gloves. This is quite a nice one without gloves because it makes sure that the knuckle lands right and it goes straight through a guard. Better if he hasn't got his gloves on. I have to admit, it doesn't matter, I can do it with his gloves on. So basically what I'm going to do is, I'm in the same sort of position here. Again, sometimes I'm slightly this way, and I call it the Old English, because my hands are like the Old English boxer. And what I'm going to do with this one is, as I step, it's going to go up like that. So it's literally there as a punch. Notice from this angle, my shoulder still protects. Can you see the shoulder still protects? So it's not one where I'm dropping my shoulder. That's an inner gate punch, a different punch altogether. This is one where the shoulder still protects. But what it's really good at is coming here, so particularly if you're jabbing like this, all of a sudden corkscrewing this one up through, as an Old English one. Boom, corkscrews through. And it's quite a good streety one because it hits with the knuckles and it really hurts. Some people will turn this one over at the last minute as well. But I like to do it here, like this with my shoulder. And I also like to do it with a sort of pat down on the opposite hand. So you sort of go, boom! Great to hit there, great to hit there. I just sort of go at that very successfully. Again, I've got Anthony in front of me here. One question that came up from Anthony actually was that I wasn't rotating over like the others, but this is a great one to think of. This is a variation. And there's also a great rule of thumb that my elbow and my little finger follow each other. So if I rotate, look, no matter what I do, my elbow, if I'm turning over, look, elbow up there, fingers will finger that way. If I'm here, look, can you see? The elbow stays in that line. If I do it flatter, the elbow turns over, so it follows my little finger. So this is a really, really nice one. Works really, really well. Now, the final one is the most generic one at all. I did have my gloves on, but I'll take them off now. This is the last one of the night. And it's kind of if you like, a hybrid. It's a nice, relaxed, almost boxing position where I can bring my hips up to defend, and I'm controlling. I might be out here like the long version, but it's a short jab. And the short jab is very much about a turn of the hip. Very short one, and I want to be throwing it about here. I want to throw it, boom, there. I don't want to be reaching with this one or anything like that. It's a very short jab. I had a Muay Thai instructor that told me about a punch called the Cobra, and he'd often do it on the backhand, but it's the same thing. It's like a hand is in a Cobra position, and it just goes, boom, there, straight out like a Cobra striking. So be here, and be like, boom. So if I'm sparring with you, Anthony, I'm here, it's boom, boom. Here like that, very short. So it allows me to throw kicks off it because it's so short I can retain my pivot. So that's my final number 6 variation. Okay, we've all been sparring a bit, hence the sweat. I'm an old man now at 60, so I have to be careful, I don't have a heart attack. But one of the things we learned in the sparring is that when the guys were jabbing, that they were hybriding the jabs up. So we haven't always got to go to the head, we can go to the body. For example, if I've got a long jab, one of these sort of Lennox Lewis jabs, one of the best defences is to slip and attack straight to the body with another jab. So I go to here, boom, really good defence. If I go shorter, the slip isn't such a good option because the slip I'm going to pull you into kicks. Can you see how that works there? Because I've kept this position. So the blocking with the hands is better. The trick is, try them all, find what works for you. Some of these will work really nicely for you, some won't. But as I said right at the start, don't forget there's sometimes that just practice against any old crap being thrown, because that's what you get most of the time. I hope you enjoyed it, please subscribe and have a great day.